Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel today with another extra time video. We have just drawn 1-1 with Leicester City at home. A pretty decent performance all in all, I think. We did have to defend at times. We know the qualities that Leicester have on the ball, but I am joined today by Owen Parks. We're going to be giving you our analysis from the game, and of course we are bringing you plenty of analysis from each game at the moment. We're doing a post-match live stream, which James did last night, and of course the player ratings, which I believe John was on. So, Owen, just to start off, when you saw the team news, what was your impression of how we might be setting up and how Carlo had sent the lads out?
It was everything I expected even before I saw the team news, to be honest, because we're in this situation now where we found ourselves in a great position where we can possibly get, we'll definitely try and get Europa League, maybe an outside push at the Champions League. We definitely can because we've got the games in hand on that. But I think, like me, the manager looks at it and thinks, what's our best opportunity from getting results from week to week? And that's through being defensively stoic and organised and everyone knowing the roles. And that's what happened last night. And can you get a chance? Well, we did. James scored a brilliant goal, as we know, and it was just one tiny individual error that cost us the 3 point off from that. It was everything we've seen before, and there's no reason for me why we can't take positives from that result in terms of not maybe the overall result because we drew the game, but still good results against Leicester. But the sort of momentum we can have going forward and the fact that we can shut out pretty much every team in this league, and I think that only serves us well going forward. And yeah, it gives me good belief that we can finish in one of the top 6 places.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously the last time we played Leicester, we set up in a very similar way, and I agree. I completely expected to set up the same way again. I think Leicester away was one of our best performances this season. If we're defensively solid, we know we can get chances on the counter attack, and I thought we did that well. Of course, James Rodriguez, an absolutely brilliant goal, remarkably on his right foot. I think Wesley Fofana managed to do everything right, but still managed to concede, which is unfortunate for him. But yeah, I think we set up in a very similar way to how I expected. We've seen that with like Lucas Digne coming into the side, as well as the back four that Carlo has been playing, and we knew we were going to have to set up defensively. We know how good, well, how what am I trying to say here? I'm going to have to edit that out. All right, I'll come back in. We know how technically gifted the Leicester side are. They've got players like James Maddison, Harvey Barnes, who did cause us problems all day. But I'm not sure about you, Owen, but I thought in general we actually had probably the better of the chances, especially towards the end of the game. There were a couple of moments where we could have won it, but for all of Leicester's possession, that there weren't too many significant chances of note.
They had a very quick start to the game. I thought they got us early and put us under pressure, but we dealt with that. We then got the goal, and then as the half went on, it sort of faded into nothing, and we got the lead, and we went into half time comfortable. I thought they had one shot on target in the first half, which was from, I don't know, a hidden hope from Mark O'Brien. So we dealt with the first half. Second half, we dropped a bit deep, and then they started until they got their goal with a lot of pressure. But there weren't many chances that they were hitting on target, and we were getting blocks on the line or nothing. It didn't feel like that. It just felt like they were probing, and obviously they scored the goal. But after that, they didn't have nothing really. Even you're right to say we could have won it. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a header, Richarlison had a header from a corner, Andre Gomez miscontrolled something in the box. But yeah, we had the better chances after they scored, and if anyone after they scored should feel aggrieved that they didn't win, it would be us. But the way the two commentators were going on in the match, we were playing Guardiola's Barcelona, and we were, I don't know, Levante or someone. So it depends. People see it differently, of course, but I think they passed the ball around nicely. But I think defensively, we didn't give them much.
Yeah, and you mentioned Andre Gomez's chance there towards the end, and we knew going into the game Decore was going to be suspended. I think we were hoping that Allen might be back fit, but he wasn't in the end. So we did start with a midfield of Gomez and Davies, which has worried us in the past. But I think they did all right. To be fair, I don't know what you thought about the performance.
No, I thought they did the jobs very well. It can be difficult when you, especially played with someone for a period of time, and we've been used to having these engines in Alan and Corey. They're nowhere near the quality level of them two, I don't think. But I think they just stuck to. They had a really bad start to the game. I think the pair of them got overrun very easily, very early. But then, like I said, the second half of the first half, I thought they were very good. And I thought, to be honest, I don't really have much criticism for either Gomez or Davies. The only slight frustration for me is that Gomez didn't just swing a legger in the last minute on the corner. But apart from that, I thought he did well.
Yeah, I think they inevitably did what they were asked to do. We know we were going to struggle in the midfield because we didn't have that ball winner of Alan or Decore, so we knew we were going to have to sit kind of compact.
I thought they doubled up on important plays very well. I think there was times in the second half, especially where they doubled up well on Barnes and Maddison. Yeah, so even though they're not strong, sort of heavy tacklers in midfield, they do well in any other kind of in another way, and just pressurising the ball and stop the ball from getting closer to our box. And I thought they did that quite well.
Yeah, I think Davies was actually quite defensively solid. I think he put a couple of good tackles, a couple of good headers here and there. And when Gomez was on the ball, of course, he's not quite the perfect player. As I know you'll absolutely agree with me saying that. I mean, he did control the ball well at times. There were a couple of times where he looked a bit shaky. He might lose the ball in kind of those simple positions where you wouldn't expect him to. And by no means was it an absolute perfect performance. But from what I was kind of nervous about or kind of expected going into the game, I think Gomez and Davies did quite well. Would I want that to be the midfield duo going forward? Obviously, absolutely not. We clearly did miss that engine, as you mentioned, that was going to drive us out in the second half because we knew we were going to have to kind of weather the storm. We did it exactly the same at the King Power Stadium. We did it in the first half and then came out. But then the second half, I think we struggled to kind of break out from that defensive mould that we were in. And I think maybe an Alan or Decore would have helped quite significantly. And we knew we were going to have to set up on the counter attack, which it wasn't the most fluid at times, I don't think. And I think one of the reasons for that is potentially with Richarlison. I don't think he had the best match of his career. And his tweet afterwards kind of summed that up. He seems to be struggling for a bit of form. I don't know what you think of him, but he seems to be maybe trying too hard. I think a lot of the runs he's kind of trying to take on, he's losing the ball in quite simple areas, which you wouldn't have expected him to earlier in the season, but before a suspension, of course. I think he is kind of maybe, if not struggling for confidence, I think he's struggling for form a bit. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. There's just moments in the game where he just does silly things that I don't know. I don't think it's him or in terms of his character. So losing the ball in our half, he did a couple of times last night, and in the sense of what our game plan was, which was trying to limit them and make sure we're being as effective as we can. Losing the ball in your own half is a non-starter. So, and going forward, when he got the chance, he just ran into Leicester defenders. I just thought it was another frustrating night for him, but you know, he's going to need to try and find some inner confidence in Newcastle's, because they're a different proposition in terms of how they set up. So we're going to need to be more ruthless.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need more of that creativity going forward against a side like Steve Bruce's Newcastle. But I think as well, I don't think it helped Calvert-Lewin a lot. I think he did what he could, but without that link up with Richarlison, I did think he struggled a bit. He did have that header towards the end, which we did mention. Probably should have gone in, all things considered, knowing his ability in the air. He probably should have scored that. But I think he did struggle for service a lot in the air in the second half, and that was also kind of coinciding with when James Rodriguez kind of just ran out of legs. I think James started brilliantly. We know he got that ridiculous goal. I'm not sure how he managed to get it in from there, but after that, I think we did suffer from kind of that lack of link up from Richarlison and James in the Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, there was no outball for us to just take the pressure off for a few minutes. It was just wave after wave, and we dealt with it. And it was an individual error, like I said, that cost us. But if we'd have had a bit more composure on the ball and maybe found a second chance to score earlier on, then maybe we would have been more comfortable and won the game. But ultimately, it wasn't to be. They're a very good side, like I've said. So we'll take the point, but slight frustration we couldn't add a second before they scored their equaliser.
Yeah, and obviously you did mention the error there. We're not really going to entertain this debate again. it's exactly what we know from Pickford. He's made these kind of mistakes off and on all season. You can argue it's cost us 2 points, but at the end of the day, they will have had more chances. We obviously kind of kicked more into gear and grew more into the game after they actually scored a goal. I think we know all more solid quality to play against Newcastle. Do you expect to see him again, Owen?
I wouldn't play Pickford for Newcastle now. I just don't think it's his. He always seems to go missing. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that bit. Yeah, he always seems to go missing against Newcastle, and I don't know, for whatever reason, it just never seems to work for him. I don't know, just like a desire to do well so much, he always makes a mistake, especially after just making a mistake. I would throw Robin Olsen in.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Olsen did play against Newcastle last time. He was pretty solid. Did what you expect a capable starting Premier League keeper to do, and obviously that Pickford mistake is frustrating. But then again, we did have the chances to win it towards the end, so it can't be entirely blamed on the keeper. But I mean, overall, a solid point. It's a solid basis to build on. We do still have games in hand over the rest of the teams around us. I think we need to pick up 3 points against Newcastle, then against Leeds in midweek, and then hopefully make those games in hand count overall. As you mentioned, Owen, a solid point. Do you think that's pretty solid, all things considered?
Yeah, so yeah. I, I think we did. I think if you'd have offered me a point at the start, I would have taken it. So we got a point. It sets us up in Newcastle and Leeds. Like I said on the preview, don't lose this one, win the next two, and we'll be in a strong position. And we got that point against Leicester. Now we need to back her up with two good results against a Newcastle side lack for confidence, and a Leeds side who we should be able to find moments on the counter attack against.
Yeah, obviously it is going to kind of be a different setup against Newcastle, but obviously that's going to come up in the match preview. We've seen twice now against Leicester, Carlo's kind of set up in this defensive manner to play on the counter attack. It's going to have to be a very different kind of football at Goodison Park, especially for playing against Newcastle. But I mean that's pretty much it. I mean it was quite a simple game. It was obviously we know. We sat off defensively. Leicester had a lot of possession. We probably had the slightly better chances towards the end, and it's a solid point. That there's not too much, I think, to be said about that.
It's another feather in the cap for Michael Keane and Yerry Mina. Just the real strong partnership they've got together, and they suit playing each other. I think we sit slightly deeper, and so it suits them. I think they've been brilliant, to be honest, the last 2 months or so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've definitely formed a solid centre half partnership. When going into the season, I think we probably thought it was going to be Mason Holgate alongside Michael Keane, maybe, and obviously Holgate's been forced out wide. But even with the right backs coming back, or if one of them's injured, I'm not even sure Holgate goes straight back into that centre half partnership. I think you'd probably pick Ben Godfrey there, who, I mean, had another solid game. It's what we expect from him at this point. I think he's just been a very solid signing. But I don't want to go on too long on this video because we do have the instant match reaction and the player ratings from last night, which you should absolutely go and watch. Of course, it was James joined by Mike from the Unholy Trinity podcast, gave their kind of an initial reaction to the game, and then spoke about kind of strengthening the squad as well. So definitely go check out those videos. And thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out all the Toffee Blues social media down below. And we'll be back very soon with a Newcastle match preview. So as I mentioned, thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.